Air travel used to feel predictable. You packed your bag the way you always had, showed up a little early, and trusted that experience would carry you through. Airports were stressful, sure, but familiar. The rules felt flexible, negotiable, human. If a bag was slightly big, you pushed it in. If a line moved slowly, you sighed and waited. That sense of normal is disappearing, and most travelers don't realize it yet. This is the phase where the change begins quietly. No announcements. No countdown clocks. Just subtle shifts that catch people off guard. A carry-on that worked for years suddenly doesn't. A routine security check turns into a stop. A scanner flashes red. A tag appears on your bag before you can explain. The trip hasn't started, but the stress already has. What feels like bad luck is actually something bigger taking shape. Behind the scenes, airports are preparing for a new era. Airlines, governments, and authorities are aligning rules that were once messy and inconsistent. The goal sounds harmless: efficiency, safety, smoother travel. But the result is unforgiving. Systems replace discretion. Sensors replace judgment. The margin for error shrinks to almost nothing. 1 inch. 1 pound. One overlooked rule. This season is the warning stage, even if no one calls it that. Travelers are still behaving like it's the old world, while airports are already operating in the new one. The disconnect is where frustration is born. People feel targeted, punished, singled out, without realizing the system doesn't see them as individuals anymore. It sees data, limits, and compliance. Most passengers won't notice until it happens to them. Until the moment their routine fails. Until they realize flying without preparation is no longer just inconvenient, it's expensive. The warning isn't loud. It doesn't come with sirens. It comes quietly, at the gate, with a rule you didn't know had already changed. The crackdown doesn't arrive suddenly. It tightens step by step, turning habits into liabilities. What once felt like flexibility is now treated as abuse of the system. Carry-on bags are no longer judged by eye or common sense. They are measured, scanned, and weighed with precision that leaves no room for argument. Handles count. Wheels count. Overstuffed pockets count. If it sticks out, it fails. And failure is no longer private. It happens under bright lights, in front of a line of watching passengers. Weight becomes the silent trap. A bag that looks small can still cross the limit. A laptop, a charger, a pair of shoes, and suddenly the scale tells a different story. Airports no longer ask. They know. Built-in sensors at kiosks and gates register the number instantly. If it's over, the system flags you before you even reach the aircraft. The choice is immediate and uncomfortable. Unpack in public, pay a fee, or lose control of your bag. Personal items are pulled into the same net. That backpack that used to slide by is now tested against underseat space that barely exists. If it doesn't fit completely, it doesn't fly with you. Overhead bins fill faster as airlines pack in more passengers, and those boarding last feel the pressure first. Gate checking becomes routine, not exceptional. Convenience turns into competition. This season feels harsh because it is. Airlines defend it as efficiency and safety, but for travelers it feels like punishment for doing what once worked. Fees rise quietly. Policies are enforced aggressively. Courtesy gives way to compliance. The airport becomes a place where rules matter more than intent. By this stage, it's clear that guessing no longer works. Experience no longer protects you. The system rewards only those who adapt. Everyone else learns the same lesson the hard way. The cost of being unprepared is no longer a warning, it's a charge on your credit card. This is where frustration peaks, because even the prepared start getting caught. The rules exist, but they don't exist everywhere in the same way. One airport waves you through with full-size liquids still in your bag. The next treats those same items like contraband. A smooth departure turns into a stressful connection. What was allowed an hour ago is suddenly banned, and there is no appeal, no explanation that changes the outcome. Technology is supposed to simplify travel, But during this phase it does the opposite. New scanners appear alongside old ones. Some lanes let you keep electronics packed, others demand everything out. Signs contradict each other. Staff give different answers depending on the terminal. Travelers follow the rules and still lose expensive items to a trash bin because the system hasn't fully caught up with itself. Electronics add another layer of uncertainty. Devices must power on when asked, but many people don't realize that until they're already stopped. A dead phone becomes suspicious. A laptop with no charge becomes a problem. Power banks are suddenly judged by numbers most travelers have never learned to read. Watt hours replace common sense, and the smallest detail on a label decides whether something stays with you or disappears forever. This season feels unfair because it is inconsistent. The same bag, the same contents, the same traveler can have completely different experiences on the same trip. Confidence turns into hesitation. People double-check, repack, and still feel unsure. The airport stops feeling logical. The confusion isn't accidental. It's a side effect of rapid change layered over old infrastructure. And in that gap, travelers pay the price. Time is lost. Money is wasted. Trust erodes. By the end of this phase, one truth becomes clear. Knowing the rules isn't enough anymore. You have to anticipate where they haven't caught up yet. By this stage, the airport no longer feels like a place you move through. It feels like a system you are inside of. Decisions happen without conversation. Gates open and close automatically. Screens flash instructions before anyone speaks. You are identified, directed, and processed with minimal human interaction. What used to rely on staff discretion now runs on algorithms and sensors that never bend. Your face becomes your boarding pass. Cameras verify identity as you walk, linking you to your ticket, your luggage, and your travel history in real time. Bag drops weigh and scan without asking permission. The moment something falls outside the acceptable range, the system reacts instantly. There is no negotiation, only compliance. The airport already knows the outcome before you reach the counter. Luggage is no longer just a container, it's a data point. Its size, weight, and contents are logged and tracked across the journey. Smart tags and sensors follow its movement, predicting congestion and flagging risk. Even your behavior becomes part of the equation. How often you travel, how frequently you're stopped, how consistently you comply. Efficiency improves, but transparency disappears. This season feels unsettling because control shifts quietly. Nothing dramatic happens. There are no announcements about surveillance or tracking. It's all framed as convenience. Faster lines. Fewer delays. Smoother flow. And for travelers who fit perfectly into the system, it works. For everyone else, it feels cold and unforgiving. Human judgment fades into the background. Staff become enforcers of decisions they didn't make. The machine decides first. People follow after. Mistakes are harder to correct because the system assumes it's right. By the end of this phase, the airport is no longer reacting to travelers. It is predicting them. And once that line is crossed, the rules don't just guide your journey. They quietly control it. By now, the divide is obvious. Most travelers move through the airport tense, reactive, and unsure, constantly adjusting to problems as they appear. A smaller group moves differently. Calm. Prepared. Unrushed. They don't argue with scanners or question staff because they've already done the work before arriving. Their bags fit. Their weight is right. Their devices are charged. Nothing about their journey is left to chance. These travelers understand that the airport isn't something to fight anymore. It's something to work with. They measure their luggage at home, not at the gate. They pack with intention, not habit. Every item earns its place. Liquids are organized. Electronics are accessible. Power banks are chosen deliberately. What looks effortless is actually strategic. When overhead bins fill, they're not surprised. Their essentials are already under the seat in front of them. When rules change mid-trip, They adapt because they expected inconsistency. They know which limits matter most and where flexibility no longer exists. While others scramble, they move forward. This season isn't about traveling lighter. It's about traveling smarter. The prepared traveler doesn't rely on luck, status, or last-minute upgrades. They rely on knowledge. They understand that modern air travel rewards compliance and foresight, not experience or confidence. The system doesn't care how often you've flown. It only cares whether you meet its requirements. There's a quiet confidence that comes with this approach. No repacking at security. No fees at the gate. No stress about losing control of your belongings. Time is saved. Energy is preserved. The journey feels smooth again, not because the airport became kinder, but because the traveler became sharper. In the end, nothing about flying gets easier. It just gets clearer. Those who prepare move through the system without friction. Those who don't feel every edge. The advantage no longer belongs to the frequent flyer. It belongs to